Well, it's time to head back home. I'll cook up your favorite lasagna when we get home, okay?
Thanks, Mom.
However, my dad didn't speak the entire drive home. I wanted to talk to him, but after his moment at the funeral, I wasn't sure if that was a good idea.
It's about time we took off those dreary black clothes.
Gathering my courage, I decided then it was time to talk.
Dad, can I ask you something?
Go ahead.
Why do you want me to move into the estate so soon?
I thought I made that rather clear. The college near your grandfather's house is well known for its business program. You are planning to major in business, yes? Right after you graduate from high school, you'll just live there and can easily commute to and from school. It's a perfect fit for you.
But it's so sudden. You just decided so quickly right after the funeral.
Don't be so sensitive. If you're like that in the real world, you'll be crushed.
I'm already crushed right here at home.
I'm just saying maybe we could talk a bit more about my future.
In reply, my father rubbed his temples and sighed quietly.
After you graduate from college, you'll work at Anderson Family Toys. I have connections since I am part of the board of directors, so you will be guaranteed a
This is some
spot.
great exposition here,
That
just
is what we
saying.
talked about before,
Really
yes?
great.
Nepotism ho! What about exposition?
This is some pretty shoddy exposition here.
Oh, you were being sarcastic. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
But what if
Stop mumbling.
I don't want to work there?
Don't be silly. It's the family company, our company. I'm not just going to hand it over to some incompetent vice chairman.
He came closer to me, and his face softened.
Look, this is all for the best, okay? You may not know it right now, but you will appreciate it later.
Not good enough.
I don't believe you. For some reason, when I heard him say that, something snapped in me. I wasn't exactly sure what it was, but it made me feel so angry.
Do you even care that Grandfather passed away?
Of course I do.
Well, everything seems fine and dandy to you. Things just couldn't be better.
Excuse me? I don't like your tone, young lady.
It's like nothing even happened at all. Like you just ignored the fact that he's no longer here.
Do not raise your voice at me.
What did he ever do to you to deserve this?
My father, his face hardened, crossed his arms and erupted in angry laughter.
Ha! You sure place him upon a pedestal, like he's some kind of venerated god or something. It makes me sick.
Is that it? Are you happy seeing Grandfather dead? While everyone was grieving, were you holding yourself back from laughing in everyone's faces? Did you just feel a little bit happier seeing him lie in the graveyard?
A flash of rage crossed his face, and he whipped the back of his hand across my cheek.
You don't know anything! Running your mouth like somehow you know everything that went on, when you're just a little girl that doesn't know how to keep her mouth shut.
Is the
You
biggest
did not know
douche in
my
the
father. You did not know
universe.
what he was
Suck a dick,
capable
suck a
of.
dick, suck a motherfucking dick, suck a dick, suck a huge or small dick.
Good vine, great vine.
Uh-huh.
Story of my life.
Is everything all right?
No!
What happened?
Nothing. I'm not hungry. I think I'll just go upstairs.
Honey, wait!
I quickly turned and ran up the stairs to my room, slamming the door behind me. My breath came in short pants, and for a while I just leaned against the door to my bedroom, eventually sliding down to sit against it.
How did things become like this?
My cheek still throbbed, and I tentatively stood up and looked at the mirror to see how it looked.
Hopefully it doesn't bruise. What am I saying?
Tears formed in the corners of my eyes, and I blinked them back rapidly. I couldn't cry for the second time today. I had to be stronger than that.
Are you all right? Your father told me nothing happened, but you know your father.
I'm fine. I just lost my appetite.
The lasagna's done, though, and I don't want you skipping any meals. Are you sure?
Yeah. Don't worry about me, Mom. I'll come downstairs later to eat.
You're not telling me the whole story.
I just don't want to eat right now.
Please,
Mom, Dad
Leah,
slapped me in the face.
tell me what's going on. I wish you would tell me why you're being like this.
I wanted to tell her. A part of me was screaming to tell her what Dad had done. At the same time, I knew she couldn't fix anything. Besides, I was moving out regardless. I remained silent, letting the event remain in the past.
Well, I'll leave your food on the table if you want to eat it later.
Finally, my mom left me alone. It was strange to think that she was only a few inches away from me, only separated by a single wooden door. Is that really that strange? I really didn't know what to do. I needed to do something, anything to get my mind off of what had just happened. Anything would be better than thinking any more about the pain that was still radiating from my cheek. I was going to move into my grandfather's house tomorrow. I should probably pack up my stuff so I could be prepared for tomorrow. Yeah, that was a good idea.
I should start packing.
I opened the closet, rummaging around for a while before I finally found 2 large bags. Hurling them out onto the floor of my room, I then began to empty my drawers and cabinets so I could bring all my things with me. I didn't have much to bring other than any clothes and some toiletries. It was just bizarre. I didn't have many personal belongings like all the stuff on my bookshelf in the background. It wasn't like my luggage was completely devoid of them, but I certainly didn't have many things in my room that I would miss if I just suddenly left the house. I shook my head to get rid of those thoughts. If I were going to be my new home, it would have to feel like it, one way or another. I was going to make it a new home and get you. Just as I was packing my things, my cell phone began ringing and vibrating in my pocket. I slid my phone out of my pocket and answered it while slowly easing myself onto my bed. Who could possibly be calling?
Hey, Anderson, you there? Is everything all right? We were worried about you, so we decided to call. Hello?
I'm really glad you guys called.
My voice managed to come out, though it was only a whimper.
What happened? Are you okay?
No!
Well,
I slowly began to tell them about the funeral that afternoon. A small silence followed when I was done recounting what happened, and to my relief, Naomi finally spoke up.
I can't begin to imagine how you must be feeling right now. I'm so sorry. Do you want us to come over right now?
no, it's okay. My dad isn't in a good mood, so could we just keep talking on the phone like this?
Of course! We'd stay on the phone until the crack of dawn. Right, Suzu?
Yeah. We're always here if you need us. After all, we wouldn't be the awesome triple threat trio without you, right?
Yeah.
Triple Threat Trio? That sounds like the name of a gang.
Yeah! I mean, we're all taking on the world together. We've got to sound somewhat scary, or else no one's going to take us seriously.
What's with you and naming things?
You've got to step up your game, Naomi. Following behind the cool kids like Anderson and me. Tisk, tisk.
Hey! I'm a cool kid. If anything, I'd say
Naomi,
you
you're
have to
so
step
not
up
a
your
cool
game.
kid, but that's part of
She's
why you're
so
so
cute.
precious. We chatted cheerfully, here we go, about all sorts of things. Very soon I'd forgotten about the dance that happened that day and was engaged in a conversation about Naomi's favorite TV show. Some program called Herlock. Herlock. It couldn't be One Lunch Man. It couldn't be Gremlin Goyles. Had to be Herlock. We all agreed that the actor playing the titular character certainly had a very distinctive look about him, with that long overcoat and scarf wrapped around his neck.
Yes, no one else ever wears those.
We had many disagreements about who we thought was the coolest character.
Yeah, he has really high cheekbones, and his eyes are pretty. Though I do have to say I prefer Jotson. And as a bonus, his actor is just so sassy.
I'm cringing so hard right now. Like, you can't even see.
Me too.
I looked at the clock hanging on the wall and realized how late it was.
Whoa, it's already 1 a.m. I'm sorry for keeping you guys up so late. I think I'm gonna hit the hay for tonight. See you guys at school tomorrow. I should probably shower and go to bed. I can't believe I stayed up this late just to talk to my friends. but it was really nice. Well, to the bathroom I go.
I guess we're not doing homework.
I took a relaxing shower. Nothing beat hot water and the feeling of being clean. After drying myself, I promptly dressed in my pajamas and crawled into bed.
A nice hot shower after a long day. I'm so glad to finally be in bed.
It really had been a long day. I knew that I was wishing for something to change back in class, but I certainly wasn't expecting any of the things that happened today.
And I have to go back to school tomorrow. Ugh.
I curled up on my side and tightly wrapped the blankets around me. I really wasn't in the mood to be returning to school, but my dad probably would make me go just for the sake of it.
It's time to go to sleep.
I reached out to the lamp on my nightstand to turn off the lights. However, my mind was so lost in the passing of my grandfather, and the thought of inheriting something so big that it haunted my mind the entire night until the next morning. I shook my head to try to clear the sleepiness out of me to no avail. I really didn't get any sleep last night.
It's already time to wake up. Wait, school!
As soon as I realized I had to go to school, I slid out of bed and looked at the vanity mirror.
That's a relief.
Luckily, there was barely a bruise on my cheek. You had to squint to actually see it. I doubted anyone would actually notice unless they leaned in really close. Breathing out a sigh, I got dressed, took my backpack, and caught the bus to go to school. It wasn't even hours before everyone heard of the news. I was approached in school and given condolences for my loss. However, that wasn't what shocked my friends.
Wait, so you have the whole Anderson house to yourself? Lucky
Yeah,
as
my
hell,
grandpa
man.
just had to die for it.
Not really lucky.
My grandpa died, Suzu. My grandfather is dead. My family's dead.
My parents are dead. My grandfather is dead. Besides, living all on your own in a giant house when you're just a senior in high school, that sucks. I would be so fucking lonely. Like, I've mentioned this through previous routes. I would be so fucking lonely.
I just want cats.
Cat hotel.
Yes.
Quit being so sensitive, Naomi. Quit being so vulgar, Suzu.
Quit being friends, both of you.
Naomi's right, Suzu.
Oh, man, come on.
My grandfather's dead.
My grandfather is dead.
See? She knows about proper public taste.
I'm not talking about manners. I'm talking about how my grandfather's dead.
Is it? Wait, but is
Show
it?
some respect for my
Is
grief.
it Naomi's? Isn't Naomi's parents like politicians or something?
I don't know. Maybe.
I thought they were.
I know
She
how to
knows
be a
all
lady.
about that
Sheesh.
proper public taste.
Guys, I'm going there after school today because my parents want me to get used to living there.
Seriously? It hasn't even been a day since you came back to school.
I know, but my parents want me to try living there as soon as possible.
Still, that's really fast. Are you going to be okay?
Nice phone vibration.
Of course.
But even in the comfort of my best friends, life seemed to keep testing me.
Hey!
Here
Don't
comes
go around
Lizette.
shoving people like that. Whoops. Did I strike a nerve, Capini?
My grandfather's dead.
She let out a small laugh as she twirled her hair around her finger. Lizette, one of the last people I wanted to see today.
It's not me you should be apologizing to.
Oh, Anderson. Hey, how's it going?
I'm all right.
Haven't you already heard, Lizette?
Of what?
Her grandfather's passing.
Ah, well, I'm sorry about that. I don't really watch a lot of news.
It doesn't really sound like you mean it.
I do mean it. Earnestly. Why wouldn't I?
Typical Capini. Isn't her family involved with the mafia or something? I wouldn't be surprised if she brought out a bat from behind her back right this moment.
stereotype with her. She's Italian. She's not Japanese. Despite her name being Suzu. I had nearly forgotten the crowd that followed Lizette, which was mostly comprised of people who no one wanted to see on a typical school day. Ugh, the Vortex Club. No one had the slightest idea why exactly they followed Lizette around persistently, but they labeled themselves as social equals with her.
That is out of line. Suzu comes from an honest family.
Says the one whose family profits from political scandals.
Yeah, your dad doesn't make anything unless he's in the courts with dirty politicians.
Oh, her dad's a lawyer.
That's kind of the point of a lawyer job.
Hey, let's all calm down for a second, alright? I'm sure Anderson needs some time to recuperate. I mean, what just happened?
I ain't got time for your fake Liz McGuire ass.
I know that you are being insincere, but I do agree with that statement. Leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Just stop. Stop acting like that already. Like you feel sorry for me.
What are you talking about?
I'm sure you're happy seeing me like this. You already have everything you wanted, and now seeing me like this, life couldn't get any better.
Bitterness seeped into me, and words started flying out of my mouth without filter. But honestly, I didn't care. I was so consumed by anger that I only saw Lisette in front of me.
What exactly am I to you? Just another part of your obstacle course? Is that what I am? I'm sick of it, Lisette. I'm sick of all these charades. I'm sick of you.
The eyes. Gasps rose from the crowd around her, and I was brought back to the school hallway.
Highway?
Oh, not highway. Not highway. Hallway. Even my friends beside me looked at me in surprise. One girl looked like she was going to speak up, but Lisette held her hand up to stop her. There was an emotion in her face that I couldn't quite make out, but I could see a form of pity in her eyes.
No, don't you dare pity me.
I looked away from her. I didn't want to see that emotion in her eyes when she was talking to me. She didn't have the right to look at me that way.
I'm sorry. I know your grandfather passing away must have really taken a toll on your emotions.
She stepped towards me and put her hand on my shoulder, giving me a tiny smile as if for old time's sake.
Do not fucking touch me, lady.
But for some reason I didn't feel comforted at all. Not that I was angry at her, but the expression on her face when she leaned in close to me contorted into something complex. Something was different about her. I couldn't place my finger on it, but something about her had definitely changed.
Well, I'll be going for now. Track meet responsibilities and all of that
stuff.
She's in
track?
See you later.
Something about Lisette made me feel uncomfortable. I wasn't just angry, but also uneasy. What was it? I had never seen her like that before. But I decided to pay no further attention to it. She continued running down the hallway with her gaggle of friends behind her. I refocused my attention to Mrs. Phillips, who was walking down the hall towards me.
Is everything all right, girls?
Nothing we couldn't handle, Mrs. P. Just a bunch of snobs.
Suzu, hush! It was nothing, Mrs. Phillips.
Yawning over the character's lines?
I was trying not to! I was trying!
Well, Miss Anderson, please accept my condolences for your loss.
Thank you, Mrs. Phillips.
Your grandfather was a good man. He really upheld the philanthropy of his company's policies, and the money that went towards charity, too.
I know. He was amazing. I really looked up to him, and I want to be as good as he was.
Well, I know that you'll be as great as your grandfather.
Hell yeah, she will. She'll be 10 times better than her grandfather.
Would I? Would I really be better than my grandfather? Everyone seemed to have high expectations for me. I wanted to do my best to make my family proud, but to be better than my grandfather? I wasn't sure about that. From outside the school window, I saw a familiar blue car pull up to the curb. Undoubtedly, it was my father in the driver's seat.
Oh, my ride's here. Well, I guess I'll see you both tomorrow.
Want us to come with you?
No, it's okay. I'll be fine. See you. Hey, Dad.
Hey, honey.
As I got into the car, I noticed my father looked troubled, clutching at the steering wheel and staring straight ahead, as if something was really bothering him.
Good.
About what happened yesterday. I'm sorry for yelling at you.
Yes, it does. A lot.
No, it's nothing to worry about.
I mean it. I shouldn't have laid a finger on you. You know that you're my most precious
Then why'd you do it?
You're
why'd you do it,
have.
Mr. Egg Money?
Why'd
you do it? yet he couldn't bring himself to say what he could never say to me for such a long time. I always wanted to hear those words to affirm how he really felt, but I guess even now he couldn't say it to me. I turned my head away to look out the window.
No, please, go ahead. Walk around in high heels. It's not like I can hear you through my ceiling or anything.
Wow. I turned my head away to look out the window. There was no point in waiting for something that was never going to come. Like my Hogwarts letter. And like that, he started to drive, and the conversation between us ended. I decided to focus my attention on the passing scenery. We were taking the usual route to Grandfather's house. It was located within the vicinity of the school district, but it was still pretty far from the school and from where our house was. He had always lived alone. He insisted on doing things by himself, even at his age in such a large house. I wondered, did he pass away with no one at his side as well? It sounded so lonely and sad. It was strange that he decided on living all alone in his large estate. If anything, he could have lived with us, not with this dad around. Though he and my father probably would have given each other the silent treatment the entire time. Maybe living alone was preferable to that. I actually hadn't visited him for quite a while. Visits to his house were most frequent when I was a child, and I had grown up long since then. The last time I visited, though, I thought he looked just as he usually was, happy and healthy. But things change. In the back of my mind, I knew that he would have to leave one day. It wasn't like humans could live forever. So why did my heart still feel so heavy?
'Cause he died yesterday?
Yeah, seriously. The car ride was spent mostly in silence until he spoke up again.
How was school? Maintaining your grades, I hope.
Oh, you shut your face. I hope you're maintaining your grades in assholery.
Yeah, I've been trying my best as of so far.
Trying? That's not really doing the best you can, is it?
With my father, only some words I said were filtered through his ears. It was difficult to keep up a conversation without eventually talking about academics or my future, even though it was something loosely based on it. He always found a way to integrate it whenever we talked.
Anyway, your belongings are in the trunk.
One question did linger in my mind, though. If he was going to justify acting so nonchalant at Grandfather's funeral, I had the right to at least know why. Leave it alone. There was no use talking to him about this. It would be like reopening a wound or reapplying a bruise. I sighed. He gave me a side glance out of curiosity, but didn't pursue it further. Typical man. I leaned against the car door and stared out the window. I really couldn't think. What would this place be like? I had been to my grandfather's house before, but it was one thing visiting, and it was another thing actually living there. How would I manage living on my own without any training to really care for a house? I knew that naturally the bills would be paid by my parents, who inherited grandfather's stocks to the corporation.
See, that's the lucky part.
Yeah.
That's the lucky part of the situation, is your parents are willing to pay.
But I had never lived independently before. Thinking about it made me feel like a kind of bird being pushed out of the nest. I was technically an adult. I felt unprepared and a bit daunted at the prospect of actually moving into a new place. Most people my age would be ecstatic moving out. After all, it would symbolize some kind of change in their lives, like being on the road to independence. But I felt like it was nothing of the sort. I really hoped I wouldn't let my parents down. I wouldn't want to let Grandfather down. What would he be saying right now? I gazed up at the passing clouds in the sky. If you're out there, Grandfather, how would you be doing? Would there be anything you'd want to tell me at this moment? Kick your dad in the nuts!
Chill the fuck out. You're still just a kid. Everything's gonna be okay. You don't have to worry about letting people down. You're only like a 10th of the way through your life. Everything's gonna be okay.
It just takes some time. Anyway.
Little girl, you're in the middle of the ride. Everything will be just fine.
And, of course, no answer. What was I doing? Searching for an answer in heaven that would not exist. I ducked my head to stare at the blur of trees and cars from the car window. My head was definitely going into the clouds there at that moment. Either way, I found myself being driven off to my new home. The car rolled to a stop, and I drifted out of my thoughts.
Here we are. Go on in.
All right. Tell Mom I love her.
All right.
And only her. I love you, Dad.
No, make sure to come by and visit us often. No, I'm going to miss you lots. Nothing other than a blank stare.
Thanks, Dad.
I paused a bit before reaching for the car door handle, waiting for any form of goodbye, but he didn't speak again. Wow. I sighed and exited the car, hearing my dad pop open the trunk. I saw the 2 large bags I packed the night. They were large enough to carry only the things I needed. I took them out, placed 1 bag on each shoulder, and then closed the trunk. He then drove off, leaving me alone in front of the mansion. I watched the blue car fade into the distance of the road before turning to see my new home.
There it is. It's huge. My grandfather gave me this. It's hard to believe.
The house was framed by a set of tall gates, and I hesitantly pushed them aside to take in the entire estate. The house was framed by a set of tall gates, and I hesitantly pushed them aside to take in the entire estate. The house still looked like it was when I last visited him. At a glance, it seemed kind of intimidating with its size, though if I came closer, it was clear that there was more to it than that. The brick walls were framed by shrubbery and lovely flowers, giving it a homey and welcoming look, but in contrast, the tall doors into the house gave me a feeling of grandeur. Who knew what was waiting for me? But I wouldn't back down at this moment. I took out the key to the front doors and unlocked them.
Well, might as well make myself at home. I'll be staying here for quite a while anyways.
That's when I saw them. Skip.
Nobody wants to fuck the Dim Boys tonight. We already did that, and some of them were better than others. Some of them were better than others. Sam was a pretty good one, and Eric was not. I hate him so much. Get off the screen. And Davey was a precious cinnamon roll. We love him and his beautiful color scheme, even though he has some derp eyes there. Derp. And there's Matthew. We thought he was a yandere. He is not. He is just precious. I need to breathe.
What? I appreciate the...
And then he cried because he made an ugly thing, and then they made dinner, and Eric was a slut, and James was boring and a boring warbler, but that's to be expected from anyone who watched Watch Glee. And we smacked Eric, and he didn't really seem to like it that much, and that's kind of disappointing, to be honest. And then they were still talking so much. Why are we? Flashback into Grandpa, and then, oh my god, let the boys stay. Let the boys stay. Let the boys stay. Let them stay. I'm just gonna sing over all the boy parts. I don't know. I think just so then, because we don't have any opinion. So then stuff happened, and
Damien saw a ghost.
And then
we had to have a dinner party.
And they were like, yo, we'll help you and I'll go to sleep, because all I do is sleep. And then I had a nightmare about a devil, but Damien came here. And then Sam got angry, and then they know these boys need so much coffee. I don't even drink coffee, and then Matthew completely ruined everything!